I'm Dana Denha, and you're watching FYI. Dance Marathon at the University of Michigan, or DMUM, held their year-end celebration where students and families gathered for some fun, games, and plenty of fancy footwork. During VictorThon, DMUM students take a stand for 24 hours.
We're standing for 24 hours to support pediatric rehabilitative programs like at Mott and Beaumont Children's Hospital. And we have over 40 families that we help support. And so this event is just mainly like a collaboration of what has happened throughout the year. And it all comes together, and all the support and all the dancers that have raised money.
There's a bunch of events here as well. We have an obstacle course, we have an alumni center, we have an inspiration tent where dancers can go when they're feeling a little bit tired or a little bit exhausted. Overall, it's just busy. There's no hour where you're just standing there looking for something to do.
We have line dances that we teach every 2 hours, so we have a group of us that get on stage and we'll teach these guys different stories and different line dances, and that continues on throughout the event.
It kind of brings everybody together, the families, the kids, the therapists, who a lot of the fundraising benefits, and kind of symbolizes as the students start to feel the struggles around 20 hours, 21 hours, they kind of start to feel some of the same struggles a lot of the kids go through during their therapies.
The students that make up DMUM have a lasting effect on the children in need.
I'm the first and only kid in the entire Southline district that could play a musical instrument, and that's all because of the students right here standing for 24 hours.
It really boosted her self-esteem and her self-confidence. She used to be very shy, but to have, a whole team focus on her, she came out of her shell really quickly.
DMUM has become my family. Every person, every class, there's someone I know, and I've never met such a network of genuine people, and we just fundraise for the best cause in the world.
Stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly with more news and information. Adaptive sports are changing the way people are living their lives. With the right equipment and know-how, people with physical impairments can enjoy the same recreations as their able-bodied counterparts. OPAF and Eastern Michigan University are working together to bring FIRST clinics to Washtenaw County.
We're having our 8th annual Learn to Swim, Kayak, and Scuba Dive. And it's an adaptive program that's designed to reintegrate people with physical disabilities back into the community.
It offers people something that they thought may have literally been taken away from them, and we show them what the opportunities are and what the possibilities are, and we show them how to take it to the next level.
Once you're in the water, disabilities melt away because you're buoyant. So people have things like arthritis, people with limb loss, people with cardiovascular issues. I mean, the pool is wonderful because you're so much more buoyant. There's no stress on your joints. You don't have to worry about impact or any of those things.
They will learn the basics of kayaking, how to pull a boat, the strokes, how to balance within the boat, and if they get to the point, they'll learn to do a flip and then an upright. With scuba, they'll have a buoyancy compensator, they'll have a mask, they'll have fins, they'll wear a tank, they'll learn how to breathe underneath the water.
These FIRST clinics change people's outlook on life.
I've been doing adaptive recreation for years now. I have since I was a little kid. it was actually part of my physical therapy regimen. Back when I was very, very little, around the age of maybe 3 or 4. And now that I am 27, it's something that I just love to do. I love to swim, I love to be in the water, and it helps with my overall function. There's nothing better than them feeling independent. And this is where they can feel independent. To be on their own, to do their own thing, and to have fun while they're doing it.
For more info, visit opafirstclinics.org. It's pothole season, and with that comes a lot of headaches. Before you hit a big hole and blow out a tire, reach out to the city via A2 Fix-It. Learn how to report a problem through A2 Fix-It in this month's City Roundup in 60.
Hello, my name is Robert Keller with the City of Ann Arbor, here to tell you a quick and easy way to report problems to the city that you need to get fixed. Problems like potholes, streetlight outages, or snow or ice on sidewalks or streets. It's called A2 Fix-It. A2 Fix-It is a tool you can access online. Just simply go to a2gov.org/A2Fixit or download the app for your smartphone. Now keep in mind, A2 Fix-It isn't for everything. A2 Fix-It isn't for emergencies, crime issues, or flooding or water problems. But for practically everything else, A2 Fix-It is your best and easy way to let us know you need something fixed.
We are much more aware of the environment and the effects we as individuals have on it. And if we work together, our natural world can have a fighting chance. A local organization is on a mission for change, and for the last 100 years, the Sierra Club wants to keep our planet blooming for generations to come as they find ways to protect our water, wildlife, food, and much more. Joining me is Dan Ezekiel, Executive Committee Chair, and Jamie Magiera, Executive Committee Vice Chair for the Sierra Club Huron Valley Group. So that's a mouthful. So the Sierra Club is what, nationwide? And then you were kind of explaining this to me before the show. There's chapters and then groups.
We're the largest national environmental group. We have over 3 million members nationally. And as you said, the Sierra Club is over 100 years old. It was founded by the famous outdoorsman John Muir back in the 1800s. The state level is called the chapter, so we have the Michigan chapter. And then within the chapter, there are groups. So we are leading the executive committee of the Huron Valley Group, and that's Washtenaw County, Monroe County, and Lenawee County. And we have more than 3,000 members.
Okay, so what do you do at the local level then for us here in Washtenaw, Lenawee, and what'd you say, Monroe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So generally, a couple of things. The group organizes people into events and meetings. So for example, there's a monthly meeting of the membership where we will have a presenter, a speaker from anywhere across the country really to talk about an environmental issue. So we bring people together to teach them about what's happening in terms of the environment, protecting the environment. Then we also leverage our membership to advocate to local political leadership, city council, county level, etc., to address issues in terms of protecting the environment. And also we network with other organizations, either within the other groups or chapters within the Sierra Club or other environmental organizations overall to educate and again advocate.
And there's a lot of change on the horizon with the Huron Valley Group, so you're trying to broaden your horizons, you're trying to get more people to join, right?
Oh, absolutely. We are in the process of kind of refreshing everything about the Huron Valley Group. We're working on a vision statement so that we can align our strategic planning. It's just time to redo that. It hasn't been done maybe for a decade or so. We're trying to reach out to greater geographic areas. So even though we cover 3 counties, more than 70% of our members currently live in Ann Arbor, so we want to reach the rest of the county and the other 2 counties more. Mm-hmm. We want to get younger people in, and one thing that we're doing in that regard, Jamie here is working hard on leading a group that's refreshing our communication to make it more modern, more digital, more what young people are used to accessing, so that we can more easily welcome young people into our group. We want to see people from every socioeconomic group. We want to bring in more people of color into our group. So we're doing a lot of outreach and a lot of visioning and a lot of refreshing, just to kind of make sure that we're up to speed.
And it actually factors into something that's coming up from the state level and the national level of the Sierra Club is in the coming years focusing on environmental justice. So the idea is that folks who are economically disadvantaged, et cetera, have borne the brunt a lot of times of environmental pollution, contamination, things of that nature. So expanding the group to start bringing those folks into the group,
so they have
and
a
also
voice.
So that they have a voice, and also helping them to have informed advocacy in those issues.
We're going to actually be hosting a meeting for 4 groups about environmental justice here in Ann Arbor in the summer. The date is still to be announced, so you can look for that on our website. And what is our website, Jamie?
So if you can go to our website at it's sierraclub.com or sierraclub.org, sorry, /Michigan/Huron-Valley. And you can also just do a web search for us.
Yeah, you can just Google that.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have a social media presence too?
We have a social media presence. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We actually now have Instagram and some of the other social media formats, and we're trying to leverage all of those in a way that they haven't really been leveraged before, for the group.
So why don't we talk about some of the hot button issues right now in Ann Arbor with the environment? You guys were mentioning before the show, water is a huge one.
Yeah. So we're working on a number of issues locally. We had a very successful advocacy about a month ago about a certain piece of property to be protected by the Ann Arbor Greenbelt. And that was just helping the new majority on Ann Arbor City Council to understand how the Greenbelt program works and how beloved it is by Ann Arbor citizens and also the citizens of the township. We've also been working on a controversy over funding for climate change, which is one of our very top priorities, to fund it at the city level and where that money is going to come from. We've been advocating for that, and we've been meeting and trying to forge a consensus about how that will work out. Certainly water, with our Gelman plume, our dioxane plume, and the PFAS contamination. That's huge, and we're educating ourselves about those things more and reaching out to work on that both locally and at the state level. And I'd like to mention that our next program meeting, Jamie was talking about the general meetings that we have. Our next program meeting is Tuesday, April 16th, and it's at Mathi Botanical Gardens at 7:30 p.m. And our own Steve Brown, who's a chemist and who knows about all there is to know about PFAS, is going to be presenting about that evening. So I'd really like to invite the viewers to come to that meeting.
Yeah. And he's actually the chair of our conservation committee, Mr. Brown is, and has done some really great work in collating all of these environmental issues. Yeah, so water is one of them.
Yeah, and then you also mentioned the trash and recycling, which I feel like I've been hearing about all the time lately.
Right, so there's a lot of discussion now about moving forward, how does the community deal with trash and recycling? We're finding more and more that the recycling is not being purchased by China and other countries, and so a lot of the recycling that we think is getting recycled is actually getting put into the trash because it can't be dealt with. Ann Arbor has in fact been driving our recycling far away
to Ohio
to be addressed, and so there's discussion about a regional recycling facility, waste management, a collaboration between communities in the area. And so, we're going to look at that, see what the downsides, what the benefits are, do some cost-benefit analysis, and sort of try to help ourselves and help others understand what form that might take.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's a lot of confusion around recycling at the moment. But one thing I did hear, and I don't know if this is true or not, but that a lot of Ann Arbor's recycling really wasn't going to China anyways.
No, it was not.
Yeah.
But that factors into what outside facilities will actually take and process. And so, for example, one thing that a lot of folks didn't know is that for a while our glass was not actually getting recycled.
I learned that after the fact.
Yeah. And so things like that are going to be really important. Like how do we deal with this?
Yeah, because you want to think that when you are at home and throwing things into your recycle bin and taking the time to clean these things, that it's actually going to benefit something down the road.
I'd like to say another angle of this that we're looking at, and I've been involved with advocacy for recycling since about 1976. Ann Arbor currently is revising its solid waste plan, and they have a consultant here to do it, and the consultant has an advisory committee of local citizens. And some of the citizens on the advisory committee are putting forth a recommendation to kind of steer the focus of the solid waste plan towards zero waste, like what's our vision for the future. And we're looking at that and how we can help with that, And if I could just say one more thing about this. In another part of my life, I'm working with the Ann Arbor Public Schools because I'm a retired teacher from the schools. And we are going to roll out a big repair of the school's recycling program with the new school year next year.
That's awesome.
So one of the things we might want to do briefly is just explain that zero waste is the idea of actually not generating waste in the first place. Actually minimizing packaging on products, reusing materials for other things. Outside of this, in one of my other hats that I wear, I'm the president of a board of a grocery store. And so one of the things that grocery store is looking at is how do you minimize the packaging on products so that you're not contributing that stuff in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's a big focus right there. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure with the grocery store aspect, it's even just the plastic bags
Exactly.
That's like a huge one. I was just talking about it with my dad just a couple days ago. We're almost out of time, but is there anything else that you wanted to mention that you guys are working on before we run out of time?
I'd like to tell a few things that the state chapter is working on, and of course we're part of the state chapter. So three big focuses that they have. One is certainly clean water, because PFAS isn't only a problem here, and also strong opposition to the Line 5 pipeline that carries petroleum products under the Straits of Mackinac, which is a potential threat to our water. Another one would be climate change, and that's a huge focus for us, for the state, and for the national group, and in particular how we can increase renewables and energy conservation. And just a couple days ago, there was finally an agreement hammered out with Consumers Power, where there was a lot of advocacy by the state chapter in getting to that agreement. It's not perfect, but it's going to be a big step in the right direction. And then the last one would be factory farms, and they're also sometimes known as CAFOs. And the waste, the manure that comes out of those operations, making sure that that's managed in such a way that it never gets into the Great Lakes.
Did you want to add anything, James?
Yeah, well, I would add on to, actually, in terms of CAFOs, one of the other things is, we might be having discussions about how do we work with the public on looking at dietary choices, right? How do dietary choices actually factor into these CAFOs? Just circling back before we close out, membership is fundamental to the organization.
I was actually going to mention before we go, because if any of these topics sound like something that you're passionate about, then you should contact the Sierra
We would
Club.
love to have people get involved. There's a variety of committees. There's meetings that you can go to learn more. Our executive committee meeting is actually open to the public, and we encourage people to come and just see how the organization operates.
We need people. We need leaders. Another thing to say about the Sierra Club, we've talked almost entirely about advocacy, but another part of the Sierra Club is sort of fellowship and enjoyment of the outdoors. So we have outings. Anya Dale is our outings director, and just spending time in the outdoors, and there's a social aspect too. And of course, as we get to know each other socially, it makes us stronger. It makes us stronger in our advocacy work as well. But the national mission statement of the Sierra Club says to enjoy, protect, and share nature.
Okay.
So that's what we do. Please join. You can join the Sierra Club for $15 a year as an individual or $30 a year as a couple or a family.
That's nothing.
And if you if you join at any level, you're joining all the levels. If you live in our counties, you would be joining the Huron Valley Group and the Michigan chapter and the National Sierra Club.
All right. Well, thank you both for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us on.
Thanks for having us.
For more on this and other programs, visit a2gov.org/CTN. Visit youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor to see all that we have to offer, and remember to like, comment, and share. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to FYI.